Hello, everyone. My name is Lacey. This is Lieutenant Dan. That's Sylvester. And you are watching Reptiles. So, when this video is coming out, a majority of the country we are expecting to have some sort of Big Daddy winter storm, which got me thinking, hey, maybe I should tell you how to winterize your little cold-blooded friends because, they like to stay warm and not freeze to death. It's literally the same, girl. Literally the same. So today, I'm just gonna run through really quick how you can winterize your snakes and protect them from this cold weather that we are going to be having. If your power, this is mostly like if your power is going to go out, like how do you keep your friends warm in their little houses? How do we do that, Daniel? How do we do that? So, if your power goes out for like a day, you're fine. Maybe even two, like you're good. But anything beyond that, you're going to want to make sure you do some stuff. First things first, you're going to want to make sure your home is insulated really well. When I lived in Minnesota, as soon as it would start getting kind of chilly, Dad would put plastic on the windows to help insulate the house because it was like a 100-year-old house and there was no heat upstairs really. So insulating was very important and making sure no cold air can get in. So in your house, make sure that there's no drafts under doors. If there is, roll up a towel, put that in front, get those little heavy blockers that you can put in front of the door jamb. I have a balcony in my apartment, so I will be rolling up towels to put behind the sliding door because that's a spot where cold air can get in. And make sure you have your blinds pulled, your curtains drawn. The heavier the curtains, the better. The light blocking curtains are really thick, so they're very good at retaining heat in the winter and cold air in the summer. So make sure you have everything set up in your home that will keep your home as comfortable a temperature for as long as possible. Very important. Also, you're not only for your snakes, but for yourself, make sure you have a good supply of water, like bottled water, perishables, all that. You need to eat. Your snake won't necessarily need to eat. Your snake's gonna be fine if they don't eat for a few days while the power's out. Feeding them while they don't have direct heat, probably a bad idea. Something you can do, the next thought, where do you have your enclosures placed in your home? Do you have them on a wall that touches the outside, like the other side of the wall is the outside world? Or do you have them on an interior wall where the other side of the wall is just another room in your home? Ask yourself that question. If you don't have your snakes or reptiles on an interior wall, I recommend putting those enclosures on an interior wall because it will be easier to retain the heat. Instead of having just two walls and some insulation in between them and sub-zero temperatures, you're gonna have a wall and a room and another wall, etc. It's going to be easier to retain heat when they're against a wall that is not directly between them and the outside. So make sure you have your snakes on an interior wall of your home. Like Daniel here. All my snakes are on this interior wall here. And someone is in front of the thermostat, Sekhmet, but that's okay. I can get to my thermostat. She's just right there. Interior wall. While your power is out, do not mist. I wouldn't recommend misting or spraying down your snake's enclosures because water and mist and spray, that is going to cause evaporative cooling, which is when you spray the water and then if you spray too much and it gets kind of like hazy and kind of foggy on the glass and there's condensation. So it takes energy. Heat is energy. So if you're spraying it down, that water is going to absorb the heat, the energy that is in there. So, and therefore making whatever it is on colder. And since we have cold-blooded friends, we don't want to introduce anything that's going to cool off their enclosure when it's freezing outside. We don't want to do that. especially when we're trying to maintain heat in their enclosure. Another thing that you're going to want to do if you have a screen top, see if you can kind of see Sekhmet's here, is kind of a screen top. I have plexiglass across the top of her enclosure to help keep any humidity, and I did it for the humidity, but it works really well to keep the heat in as well. And then you're going to want to make sure those enclosures are insulated as well from the outside. So once you have your solid plastic, whatever, on the top, you can take blankets. You can see here, I've got a nice crocheted number right there. You can insulate their enclosures with the ability to fully cover them up with the blanket. But there's still, if you have air vents on the side, make sure they still have ventilation, because that is still important to have fresh air, obviously. But you can have your blankets so you can unfold them so they're protected on all sides, and they're insulated on all sides. I still need to do my blanket for John Cena. John Cena is on the floor. And she's got a 6-foot-long enclosure, so I need to make sure I get her a big blanket to cover her enclosure. Now, for John Cena, she's in blue. She's getting ready to shed. So normally, I spray down her enclosure a little bit extra. While I know that I have power, and while I'm not concerned before any storm is here, yes, I'm gonna continue as normal and treat her like I normally would while she's getting ready to shed, keeping her humidity up, making sure she's nice and comfortable. But if the power goes out, my number one job then becomes keeping her warm. Everything kind of comes secondary. Again, if you have make sure you have bottled water so your snakes still have access to the water, to fresh water to drink, so they don't dehydrate, because, we need to stay alive. But everything is going to be focused on keeping your snakes warm. I recommend having a temperature gun. I have one. It's on the side of Daniel's house here. So you can keep an eye and maintain an idea of what the temperature is, because you're obviously not going to have any heat. You have your temp gun to make sure that their enclosures are staying warm. You're also not going to want to go into the enclosures. Stay out of the enclosures as much as possible so that they can maintain the heat that is already inside. These enclosures are very good at holding onto the heat. So if you just keep the doors shut, don't go in, try not to muck with them too much, because we want to keep that heat in the enclosure, right? If you absolutely have to, and it's been a bit and it's starting to get a little concerning, I recommend having phase packs, heat packs, anything that you can kind of crunch and that creates heat. So a phase pack won't get too hot. They're specifically designed for like shipping your reptiles, but they were really good in an emergency situation. You can have them in the enclosure to help keep that enclosure a little bit warmer. So that is a great thing to have if there's a concern for, several days without power. You, as a human being, are a nice 98 degrees. So you can always, after it's been a little while and you're starting to be concerned about their heat, you can always take your snake and give them a snuggle. You can give them a snuggle, and your body heat will help keep them warm and keep them safe and keep them happy, huh, Daniel? He's staring into my soul just like, Mama, I am hungry. You're supposed to feed me today. Which, because I know we're not going to have, we're going to have the storm. We might not have power. I know I am not going to feed him until the storm has passed. So I can guarantee that we're going to have electricity to keep him warm so he can digest his ratties. But that's the basics, friend. That's the gist of basic winter weather preparedness for your reptiles. Lizards, I'm sure, have a lot more special care requirements and a lot more considerations that you would need in a cold weather situation, in an emergency situation. I am not speaking necessarily to that because I don't have lizards. I'm not sure about anything specific that would be more specific for them. This is really just a regular old pet snake, keeping them safe if your power goes out kind of business. If you have questions, leave them in the comments below. I like to get back to questions as much as I can. I'm always in the comments, so check it out, leave a comment, let me know. If you do anything different, put it in the comments. Let everyone know if there's anything that you recommend as well. We're all here to learn. It's fabulous. And stay safe out there, everyone. It's supposed to get pretty cold for the lower Midwest South. I'm here in Missouri, so for me, the temperature is not, I'm not super concerned because my room, growing up, my room in Minnesota didn't have heat. So I'm good. I know how to cope. But everyone else out there, stay safe, stay warm, bundle up, wear layers. And until next time, friends, never stop learning, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. See ya. Say goodbye, Daniel. Nothing. Bye.